morning and welcome to the Morning Minute Meditation here at the Higher Grounds Podcast. The verse I'm interested in today is Philippians 1:19. The Apostle Paul, writing to the Philippian church, said this, "For I know that this shall turn to my salvation through your prayer." He said, I am trusting, I'm believing that as you pray for me in the ministry that I have to people and to the church, that your prayer will do its job and work to help me as God ministers to me through your prayer. There was an expectation in Paul of numerous people, one being Philemon, that they would pray for Paul, and it was expected. And so Paul believed in their prayer and trusted that their prayer would do exceeding abundantly above all that he could ever ask or think in regard to his life. R.A. Torrey, in his book, In the Power of Prayer, talked about that a little bit. He said if we would spend more time talking to God about our preachers than we do to others about our preacher, we would wind up having better ministers of the gospel in our churches. Do you pray for your preacher? D.L. Moody, when he went to England for a little rest, wound up preaching in a particular church, and he said it was like pushing a rope uphill on the first day he was there preaching. He said it was horrible. He said, I was glad for it to be over with. Then I realized I had to come back on Sunday night. He said, Sunday night I came back to preach and a mighty power of God fell upon me. And he said, after the service, I invited people to stand if they wanted to be saved. He said, over 500 people stood. He said, I couldn't believe it. So I asked if they would meet us in the vestry room, the pastor and I, after church. And he said, over 500 came. He said, I reaffirmed what I had stated, and again, they all stood, and the next night they came and the pastor ministered the gospel to them, and they got saved by the grace of God, and a huge revival broke out. But it was because when one woman come home from church, she told her sister who could not come that D.L. Moody was there, and that sister began to fast and pray for the preacher, and God did the work. Please pray for the preacher.